So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our monthly downtown Santa Barbara wrap meeting. This used to be just State Street and Waterfront, but we've expanded and we're now kind of the entire downtown region with this wrap. As mentioned before, we're probably gonna have a smaller crowd today. I know several people have emailed saying they're out on vacation, but we appreciate you all making some time. So just a few general announcements before we get started. Just reminders about upcoming dates. For those who are interested, the Buena Tierra housing project through the Housing Authority of the County of Santa Barbara out in Goleta is having a ribbon cutting. Their 60 residents have been moved in for several months now, but they finally have the opportunity to actually celebrate the opening. So you have to RSVP to John Polanski, and if you don't have his email address and you want to go, you can let me know, and I'm happy to share that. But that is out at the former Super 8 Motel in Goleta. The downtown neighborhood wrap will be having a neighborhood walk on Friday, August 23rd at 3 p.m. We're going to start at City Hall and do our usual round. We usually walk into the businesses, share info and resources about homelessness, and then also just engage with people who might be experiencing homelessness in the neighborhood. This will be a good chance for us to spread out those Faro Center info cards that we now have and just let people know. The next thing is November 9th, we'll be having our what we call our all-call meeting for the South County Collaborative. That's what this wrap is a part of. That'll be at noon on Monday the 9th, and we'll be just sharing updates about what's going on across the entire South County region between the cities of Goleta and Carpinteria as regards to homelessness. So we encourage you to join us. I'll share the Zoom link for that shortly. And then our next downtown SB wrap meeting will be on Thursday, September the 12th at 3 p.m. And we'll be into fall at that point, or getting towards the official start of fall, I guess. And then I don't have on here the Fire and Police Commission, so I'm going to turn it to Barbara to share more.
Yes, the city's Fire and Police Commission is hosting a special meeting on Thursday, August 22nd at the Faro Center. So they're going to do a deep dive into homelessness because of the significant percentage of calls for service that are both, fielded by PD as well as fire, and how we can, work and continue to work with our community partners to address the needs that we're experiencing among our unhoused population, as well as what we can do to support people who are unhoused that have been impacted by the criminal justice system and the services and supports that are available to them as well. So that's Thursday, August 22nd, 4 o'clock at the Faro Center. And then that message will go through our kind of city newsletter, the Fire and Police Commission agenda postings, and social media as well in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Barbara. With the Faro Center too, we do officially now have Faro Center info cards. I'm just going to show on my screen what one of those cards looks like. But we have these they're wallet-sized plastic cards that have on the front side the location of City of Santa Barbara's 2 navigation centers, Faro Center, and then over on Wednesday mornings at the Rescue Mission, a once a week pop-up navigation center. On the back side of the card is a list of all the resources that are offered at each. So I'm happy to share those with anyone who wants them, or Eric, who's on this call, can also share them. We're trying to just get them in the hands of everyone we know who might benefit from coming and checking out the center. So just let us know if you'd like to get any copies of those, and we're happy to share them.
Do you mind sharing a graphic of it, and we can put it in our e-newsletter?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me make a note of that. And then as we continue with the meeting today, since this is a downtown wrap, we are including the Faro Center as a part of kind of what we discuss in these monthly meetings. And so Eric Meyer is here from SB Act, and he's just going to share a little update about the Faro Center from the last month. And then we'll have some time. If there is anyone in the community who has any questions or concerns, you can feel free to raise them. So Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, the big news that you might have seen on those cards is that we've expanded our hours. So we're now open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day. We have seen some increased traffic recently, so that's good. But yeah, the big news is we're open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. every day. but I'm happy to take any questions.
And Eric, since there are some people who haven't been on these wrap calls before, will you talk a little bit about what's offered at the Faro Center and how many people we're seeing, that kind of stuff?
Sure. So we're intended to be a one-stop shop for people experiencing homelessness. So really every service provider that can help someone experiencing homelessness is represented. So medical, behavioral health, caseworkers for housing. We're seeing about 16 people a day on average. And yeah, we're looking to add possibly warm meals next month.
So questions, anything from the community that anyone wants to ask about?
Has there been any challenges in the neighborhood that you've heard of, or only things going in the right direction? Can you just kind of elaborate on kind of how the neighborhood's doing?
Yeah, we haven't had any complaints with anyone directly attributed to the center. Our next door neighbor had a person experiencing homelessness sort of after hours there, but otherwise there haven't been any negative complaints so far. We do, have some neighbors that are not thrilled we're here, but with one exception, they've been very quiet so far. So we'll see if that continues.
And
Great, thank you.
Eric, will you share about the block walks as well?
Yeah, so we're required under our conditional use permit to do a block walk with an hour before we open and an hour after we close. So we have employees walk around the block and then actually a little bit more than that, picking up trash and encouraging folks who might be homeless to either come to the center or seek out other services.
Other questions for Eric?
I don't know
Well,
if
go
you
ahead.
can answer this, or if this might be a kind of a question for the group. I'm just wondering, in terms of the recent court ruling and how our community has decided to navigate some of those issues, if you would be able to address either how specifically Faro is, or if anyone on the call can share a little bit more, unless you're going to bring that up later, Landon.
I can just say for us, we haven't really noticed any impacts so far, but I would defer to Barbara and the law enforcement folks on how it might change city policy.
We had a couple of folks loitering. There was an individual out front smoking. So we've been able to address those in a timely manner and people have been super compliant. Robin, as you know, the area already was getting kind of an incident, probably like once a month of someone. We did have an individual in front of Jody House that was aggressive and actually CityNet was able to come out and de-escalate. And there's an individual that was seen overnight sleeping on the Jody House property in the back. The cameras caught that and they communicated that to the center as well. That was happening before the center, was open to the public. So I just, we've been talking with the SBAC team to say, could we get some more details on the individual? Is that someone who actually came through the center or, was it someone else? So we really are trying to triage it with a level of specificity just to make sure. We've gotten a couple of compliments from business owners in the surrounding area about how the presence has been really positive, and no concerns directly to the city administrator's office. And Liz, I think you said the same, you haven't received anything from your department. So that's just from our perspective, but welcome Commander Payne and Sergeant Beltran weighing in on that as well.
To my knowledge, we haven't seen any change in calls for service in that particular area from before the Faro Center to current date. It's pretty much been status quo. Unless Nate, have you made any other observations since you're out there a little bit more than I am?
No, I mean it's been pretty quiet for us. We haven't seen much activity at all. It's been fine. It's been good.
And not related to this center that was actually happening before the center opened. There was an individual impacting property at around 800 Chapala. Sergeant Beltran, and actually the CityNet team has tried to monitor that area extra carefully, but I guess it happens super late in the middle of the night, kind of destructive behaviors there. So I'm going to be following up with the property manager to see if they have any visuals of what's happening in the middle of the night so that we can direct patrol to be there at a particular time. But that report I just received last week. And again, it was happening before the center was open to the public, but we just want to make sure that we're helping the neighborhood by being present there and responsive.
One thing we have asked is when there has been that incident, like the individual that was sleeping on the property of our neighbors overnight, we asked for some identifying information if they had any, just so we could figure out, is this somebody who comes to the center? Can we talk to them while they're here? That kind of thing. So if you do hear of any incidents like that in the surrounding area, please do let us know, because that's all helpful information, and we can potentially have positive interactions with the clients and help solve some of the problems, ideally. You did ask too, just about the recent court rulings. One thing that is happening this week is that Caltrans, in response to, well, not in response, they had been planning some clearings on their property for the month of August anyway, even before Governor Newsom issued his executive orders. So that was slated to happen this week. I don't know the status and whether that's gone through, but we do expect some individuals to be moving around. We know sometimes that just means they end up moving onto railroad property, but it could mean that some individuals are going to be in different areas than they normally are. So that's the only thing we've heard so far, and we haven't seen any impacts at the Faro Center as of yet, but I'm anticipating some changes.
And Robin, I apologize, I had to take a call too. So we're scheduled to go before City Council on August 20th to talk about our encampment response policy. This was in light of a civil grand jury report that came out on encampments in Santa Barbara County. So we have to submit our response, but we're using it as an opportunity to share our encampment response protocol, what our process is, the work that's been done over the last fiscal year, and some proposed shifts moving forward.
Thank you for the update. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Any other questions or comments about the Faro Center?
I'll relay this to the team. I shared you guys with this anecdote last week when I saw you, Landon. Robin, you'll appreciate this. I was on my way to the Faro Center last week to a meeting, and there was a group of tourists standing on Chapala right on the corner at the Faro Center, the same block, saying they can't get over how beautiful Santa Barbara is. So I thought that was a great thing to hear on that block in particular, since we've been working so hard to make that area a positive place. So thought I'd share that little tidbit.
Excellent feedback. And the center is looking so incredible, and just went maybe 2 weeks ago. And I can't even believe how special the experience is. So thank you everybody for your work on that and taking care of the neighborhood and just getting this space up and running for our community. I know it's been such a long effort. Now it's actually all happening. And so thanks for continuing that effort.
Thanks, Robin. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out too. All right, so we're going to move on to just our regular downtown check-ins, and we'll start, or actually, I'm sorry, let me back up. Well, let's do if there's any downtown concerns or questions from the community separate from Faro Center. Is there anything that anyone wants to raise before we go to the outreach providers?
Landon, I just
Yeah.
wanted to bring, and I'm not sure if CityNet has engaged, but there's an African-American woman that spends some time along Anacapa. And today she was like up near the Libero Theater on the Anacapa side of the street. I've engaged with her a couple of times, and she hasn't been open to receiving help or support, and actually reminds me of the woman who used to be at the Museum of Art, but it's not the same person. But she's just really, like, obviously not in a great place, just out sleeping on the sidewalk, not even in the shade. And I just worry about her overall health and safety. And so I'm curious if there's been some engagement with her or not.
Yeah, Barbara, we have had engagement with her, and it was kind of the same situation. She was not receptive to services. She didn't want snacks or anything. Usually when that kind of things happen, I try to give it like a week or two and then check back in, or just try to like wave and build some kind of trust or
Yeah.
rapport. So I've been seeing her in different places around, so we'll definitely try to circle back to connecting with her and see if anything's changed.
Thank you so much for that. She's really kind, you know, she's just declines everything. So, so yeah, hopefully maybe all of us can kind of work together and see if we can get her to open up a little bit. Thank you for that.
All right, not seeing anything else at the moment. Let's hear from our outreach teams. So Olivia, can you start and just share updates from the downtown region?
Yeah, on State Street, I'd say we've been seeing, like, we have two people that are enrolled with us, clients that we see regularly on State Street, and I'd say on average we've been seeing maybe 8 outreach contacts when we do our downtown walk. We've seen a few new people. There's been like one new person kind of near the Hamburger Habit. Aside from that, most of the people that we've been seeing are familiar faces. And then as far as the waterfront area, we've seen fewer people there than normal ever since it's become kind of fenced off. We've still been doing our outreach over there, Pershing Park, Dwight Murphy, Montecito Street. We're familiar with some of those individuals, but so far, most of them that we've done our outreach to have not been interested in services. However, we do provide snacks and water and hygiene packs and things like that. Yeah, but State Street has been pretty quiet for us the past couple months, actually.
Thank you. And my question, I was going to ask if there's been any updates just because Fiesta kind of tends to divert people from their usual spots, but it sounds like there may not be much to report.
Yeah, during Fiesta, I'd say we saw kind of like the usual people in their usual spots. There's a few people that kind of moved away that we didn't see as much, but for the most part, it was pretty typical. It was just really hard to get to see people because, you know, breaking through the hordes of people and foot traffic. Yeah.
It seemed from a colleague that shared a report earlier today that Javier might be back at 900 block. He was not in a good place today. One of our Javiers. So just Olivia, just try to keep an eye out of that area too. He was kind of headed west on Ken and Perdita, so he's probably gonna be around downtown this afternoon. Thank you for that.
Yeah, gotcha. We'll keep our eye out for.
And then let's go to our code enforcement team.
Thanks, Landon. Yeah, downtown for us, in general has been, you know, in pretty good shape as of late. We kind of deal with things more on sort of a one-off basis, a sort of occasional encampment that kind of springs up, but in general, they haven't been able to, you know, grow into anything substantial. We've been kind of quick to address the ones that find their way onto city sidewalks and whatnot. A lot of our focus more has been into the creek areas and whatnot. Those still continue to kind of be problem areas. People are able to kind of traffic up and down them. There's been a lot of great work, you know, of cutting back weeds and things that's exposed a lot. But we do still, you know, deal with different spots, primarily along Mission Creek at this time. I'd say the one that we've kind of been addressing lately pretty frequently would be the Montecito Street Bridge at Mission Creek. Just with the water levels kind of low, you know, it is making for some more spaces for people to set up, but again, it's a very visible spot, so we've been quick to address those concerns and get on top of them. Other than that, we've just you know, had some you know, campers on the beach down by the Dolphin Fountain, which again is something we're quick to work to address, and we're very familiar with the individual, so it's kind of a routine process while we work with him on getting some housing. But all in all, things have been in pretty good shape for us downtown, and nothing seemed out of hand by any means.
Thanks, Andrew. All right, let's go to the SPPD team.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nate.
Good. I was just gonna say not too much else to report other than like what Andrew said. Last week, obviously with Fiesta, a lot of our resources were diverted to downtown. So certain other areas of the city, I don't want to say they got overlooked. We did make our way over to 700-800 blocks of Cacique when we could, and a few other areas we would try to make our presence known. But yeah, we were pretty tied up with downtown with Fiesta last week. But there's nothing really more to add than what Andrew said. We're seeing kind of the same as what code enforcement's seeing.
Yeah, the only concern that has been brought to my attention here recently in terms of the downtown waterfront areas around the Dolphin Fountain. So I know it sounds like there's a few more individuals there during the daytime than had previously been. And so I don't know if we can increase some of the outreach for it, because my understanding of it is there's not a lot of enforcement to be done. There's not necessarily any violations being committed by these individuals, and so it's more of an outreach type of scenario where we can try and get folks hooked up with services and go from there.
Yeah, we could definitely outreach that area more in the next couple of weeks and see if we can connect with some of those individuals.
Yeah, and Olivia, it's Ronald, and I mean, it's folks that are on wait lists, but also have had some problematic behavior in housing situations before. So I think that we're just dealing with receptivity and trying to find the right spot for them. So it's going to take some time, which is, why this continues to, be an impactful area for us. So we can talk about it on the second half of the call too.
Thank you. The safe parking team isn't here with us today, but I am pleased to see over time they've been able to hire more and more. So they keep introducing new people on every Zoom call that we're on, which is great. So I think we'll be seeing more of their team out and about with this new state grant they received back in June. Anything else from the city that you wanted to share?
Landon, I have a few things, but I wanted to start with, I've been really, what's the word? Like touting the Faro Center. Anyone I engage with that's like coming through City Hall that is a regular, or, someone who's kind of hanging out here, but could really use that welcoming, awesome environment. But there's like an immediate, like, no, I don't want that. Is there anything that we can do to like really highlight that this is not your typical day? So, like, I don't know if we can do like a display at the library or display in the lobby of City Hall, like with photos and services, and like, so we can point to something to be like, this is actually 2 blocks away and it's really awesome. So I just had, just a recent kind of like, could we do something to just really change how people, like, would it just initially say no, but might be open after we kind of advertise and showcase all of the amazing benefits? Just if we could explore it.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Because I think the library too, it's like we have charging stations, we have computers, like we have everything, the library has besides, stacks and stacks of wonderful books and other things, but and people can go to both, for different reasons, but just a few dates. So I had mentioned the city council meeting about encampment response protocol. So that's Tuesday, August 20th. The Fire and Police Commission special meeting on homelessness is Thursday, August 22nd. And then right now, September 24th, we're slated to do a comprehensive update on all homelessness initiatives and strategies to city council. So I just wanted to bring all those dates before you. We really want to let people know that, one, the progress, the investments we've made, some shifts in our strategies, which I think have been, really positive. Our priority areas where we've deployed resources to address issues. And, to be perfectly honest, this is probably the best moment in time in terms of how much the city is investing in homelessness. The services, the supports, the 7-day outreach, the the Faro Center, all happening at the same time. That we are looking at, if the city can't, bring in additional revenue, that we would have to make some shifts. So we really want to be straightforward with council about what's ahead and how we might manage those things. But we also want to showcase all of the incredible work and investments that have been made to date. So September 24th right now is when that is slated as well. So we'll put the word out through SB Act and others to bring attention to that, and again just share the outcomes and the progress that we've been able to make in the last year.
Thanks, Barbara. So we'll try and get all those dates out to everyone. Maybe we'll just send a quick email with a listing, since there's so many things coming up at this point.
Hey, Landon,
Yeah, go ahead, Liv.
some food for thought on when we promote the Faro Center. I was speaking to somebody today, and the feedback about them being worried about going to the Faro Center is that they don't want to leave their belongings behind. So a reminder that there is opportunities to have their items stored, I think might also be a good selling point.
Yes, stored while they're here. You're correct.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely. We've had several people bring in large shopping carts, and we've been able to accommodate them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this person has not been wanting to leave her site because to come to the Faro Center for that reason. So
yeah, that makes sense.
yes, when we're promoting that, to remind people that there is storage opportunities.
All right. Anything else anyone wants to share while we're all together? All right. Well, we've got a lot coming up, so we'll probably see some of you in the coming weeks. But appreciate you all being here today. And this group will meet next on the 12th of September. So I'll see you in a month. Thank you, everyone. Service providers, if you can stick around, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thanks, Robin.